Hello, Jonathan. Welcome to F.A.C.E. Making you the presenter now. Looking forward to having a conversation with you, my trading warrior brother. Waiting to hear your voice, and there's a drop-down menu for your mic, and there's your car.
I wish it was my car.
Is it a Jaguar?
There. Yeah, Jag E-Pace.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? I hope it becomes your car very soon.
Oh, and me. Hopefully.
You know, it's great that you have an image of something you want. It's NLP, you know, what the mind can conceive and believe can be. Welcome. Really great to meet you, John.
And you. I've just been watching the webinar and really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's the strongest team I've ever been part of in the FX world. And I'm glad I reached out to you on Twitter. And John, this is everyone, Jonathan Kibler. And John, you want to tell us a little bit about your journey in the business? And,
absolutely.
You know, how you ended up, you're at point B, and how did it start at point A? What was your first entree into the trading industry?
Yeah, of course. Can you just see my charts at the minute?
You have your US dollar chart up here.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so yeah, basically I started in 2013. And I was 18 years old when I got into looking at some charts. Obviously,
what were you doing? Were you in school?
I just left school, and my dad actually owned a construction company, and I went straight into kind of working for him.
Okay.
So I was just a labourer for him, basically trying to work my way up, and so yeah, I didn't really enjoy what I was doing, put it that way. I didn't like the really early starts, the cold weather, and I was getting a bit sick of painting walls, to be honest. So it was quite an unusual way of kind of getting into the market. I basically at the time was just so kind of disheartened with what I wanted to do, didn't know what I wanted to do. I just kind of Googled online how to make money, which seems a little bit daft, but a lot of stuff came up. There was, and then there was an advert for Forex. So I never heard of it before. Asked my dad about it. He said, "Oh yeah, that's the currency markets, trading, and things like that." He's looked into it in the past. He even looked at penny stocks in the past and things like that. So I just basically followed the advert, and it just kind of led me to go into looking into the Forex markets in a little bit more detail.
Okay, so there's lots of landmines on the internet when it comes to trading and FX. Did you run into a few?
Absolutely. I feel like I was one of the kind of people that were I jumped into a couple of things a little bit too soon before actually looking and identifying them and really looking into the history of the company or the people that I was being approached by. Because I feel like I've gone through a proper sort of retail trader path to understanding what to look out for. And in terms of, there's definitely a lot of sharks out there because it's one of those things where I feel like if you have a little bit of knowledge and you just have a little bit more knowledge than somebody else, then somebody deems you as an expert immediately. And there's a lot of sharks that aren't, or there's not a lot of people out there managing people's expectations, or at least being honest with those people. They're just seeing the education side to Forex as a means to an end to, for their own particular business gains.
Well, let me ask you, what were some of the experiences that you had, and maybe people who see it now or see it later might recognize it and be able to avoid it? What kind of things happened to you when you're out there searching? Give us an example or two.
Yeah, so essentially, there was a company in London that I went to immediately, and there was this kind of 2-hour free sort of course to go on to. So I think when you go to that, you need to go with an open mind, and you need to go with a few questions. Obviously, when I went to this workshop, or like they called it a workshop, you essentially sold the dream. You sold that you're going to be, driving the Jag in 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? You're going to be rolling in money. You're going to be basically like, they were showing this is like my life now. It was very much like.
So they were selling the lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Okay, because there's a lot of that going on. A lot of $10,000 millionaires.
Yeah.
That lease or rent that car that you have on your screensaver, so they could have some photos taken of them, or they, get on a private plane. So, okay, so they were selling lifestyle, and as far as what they taught you, and the trading aspect of it, did you actually go live with real money and try their methodology out?
So essentially what they were selling was another course to go on to for like a couple of grand. So I was sucked in basically by those people. And, I thought, a couple of grand, let's invest it into myself. Let's see what I can learn from it. Still being completely new to the markets, I had no idea really. So I went.
Were you sucked in, John, or did you just make a bad decision?
I think a little bit of both. I think for me it was kind of a decision where I looked at what they had, and at the time, as being very young as well at that time, I was sucked into that lifestyle side of things. That was the one thing that I looked at and thought, oh, well, this.
Yeah, that's why they do it. It works.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And there were, and don't get me wrong, there was 30 other people in the room, and I'm pretty sure 25 of those people as well went and paid the £2,000. Because everyone's kind of, I feel like with the markets, everyone's kind of looking for that, that lifestyle of it without.
All right. So that leads me to a question I ask almost every guest. They were selling, in a couple of weeks. First of all, I don't think anyone should, if they're going to go live in FX, trade anything more than a micro lot for 6 months. At least they take it seriously. And I want to ask you, since you've been doing it now 6 years, right? 2013, you said you started?
Yeah.
How many years did it take you to make breakthroughs to where your confidence level of being more than just average or adequate in the markets, did it take you 4 years?
Yeah, easy 4 years.
Okay, and it's still going on for me 40 years later. I'm finally getting the hang of it after 40 years.
Yeah. And I think, what I love about this process is that you're constantly learning. And the market will always teach you a lesson when you think you're getting a little bit too cocky. It will definitely bring you down to earth.
Would you say that maybe after that experience you decided you were mainly self-taught, or did you have a good mentor or people that helped you along the way? I mean, you can have, just like you could have bad experiences, you could also have good experiences. I've talked to people that have been fortunate to hook up with the right people that expedited their journey. Did that happen for you?
Yeah, definitely. I think I was very fortunate that I found somebody that wasn't really into he was just trading by himself, a Portuguese guy. And he was.
Where'd you find him? On Twitter?
Yeah, so just literally on Twitter. Then I followed the methodology on sort of Facebook as well. They had a Facebook page, so I went and viewed that a little bit. That was my first sort of mentor, and I only chatted to him really via Twitter and stuff. I wouldn't say like that person was, massive in what I was doing now, but they kind of showed me a few things of what to look for, and just by monitoring their sort of charts, so very similar to what kind of you guys have here with ForexAnalytix. Also you kind of following the breakdowns of these, people that are trading and stuff, and you kind of pick up certain things from those, even if it's just a simple piece of information. It's something that you might not know beforehand. And then with the kind of same company that sucked me in, they with the £2,000 that I paid, it was almost like you get 3 free sessions with what they said was a trader. And fortunately enough for me, it was somebody that did trade, because they did have this massive kind of trading floor as they were showing it to people, and there must have been about 20 what they said were traders in this room, teaching people on a one-to-one basis. Now, what I found out later down the line is a lot of them were just salespeople, and the guy that I had sort of told me that, and he left the company because it was going down that path. But I was very fortunate for him, because he basically taught me my first sort of strategy around trading, and he was like, look, he gave me kind of like a blueprint of what he did as well, and was almost like, right, you follow this path and you'll be successful. So I was like, okay, I'll go away, I'll have a little look at it.
So you really didn't get sucked in?
Well, yeah, it's just kind of, yeah, I just think you do with the whole...
because actually, you ended up with somebody that you learned a few things from. I mean, a blueprint for a career is a valuable thing. So we've covered this now, John. So let's talk about the dollar.
Yep.
That's what you want to talk about. And I'm looking at your setup here, and I see you have looks like a supply demand zone. A lot of people were saying it was a breakout over 97.80. Tell us what's the bottom blue line, and how do you use it, and what's your style now? Is it supply demand zones? What are you seeing in the dollar? Where do you think we're going?
Yeah, so the kind of bottom line is just a support area I've had drawn on for a while. Typically, my sort of method is I always I need a why to look at a chart in the first place. I need a reason to be involved with the currency pair, whether that be the currency is at a significant supply demand zone, or whether a currency is just absolutely, being steamrolled. I really like to look at extremes in currency strength and weakness, to then potentially try to sort of reversal setup. I feel like my eye spots reversals.
What do you use to measure an extreme?
So I have a couple of different methods. Sometimes I just use currency heat maps that you can find on the internet around, or I kind of like to do it myself by monitoring the major currency pairs. So simply what I'll do is kind of look where the dollar's positioned, look where major currency pairs are positioned, and see if there's any kind of disparity between currency strength and weakness. So for instance, today, the pound seems to be pretty strong at the moment. So
leading the way.
Yeah, so I'll look to kind of go in with the mindset of, what if the pound's strong, is there a weaker currency I could potentially trade it against? And is that currency at a significant supply or demand zone, or has that currency been strong for a while and it's come to a key area? And then to kind of looking at the prices around that. So for me, like the dollar for me it's a crucial week for the dollar. We've got the interest rate decision. There is a lot of talk about there could potentially cutting interest rates, which could be quite harmful to the price of the dollar, but we just don't know. We don't know what they're going to say. So for me, it's kind of, I'm sitting out of the dollar at the moment, apart from I am in a current dollar Norwegian krona short. And that to me is just because crude is obviously still pushing a little bit higher. I personally think that crude is going to move lower as well. I'm obviously watching you guys as well, and you kind of have a similar sort of view to what I'm looking at with it.
Yeah, it makes me nervous now. Too much agreement.
Yeah. But
so you have the dollar chart up here. Do you have a bias now with the fact that we took out what was supposed to be significant at 97.80, and now we're trading underneath it in your demand zone?
My theory is here. I'm really going to wait for this weekly close. I really want the dust to settle this week, in my opinion. I'm quite conservative in the fact that I like to wait for added confirmation. I'm happy to let the market kind of dictate to me where it wants to go initially, and then I'm happy to sort of just piggyback it. So for me, I'd like to see this weekly close. If it closes back within this, sort of demand zone area, it could be considered as a false breakout of these highs. if that's the case, then we could see some dollar selling off. I did take a look at the quarterly charts, for instance, and just had a little look around. Sometimes I like to look at where the quarterly highs and lows are. And sometimes these quarterly highs can make a difference. Quarterly lows can make a difference as well.
Where's
sometimes
that brown line, 99.20?
Yeah, it's around about this sort of 99 area. Yeah, around about this low here.
Interesting.
And that was the reason I was looking at that, was looking at the daily chart. Just kind of considering if the dollar was to continue this long move, where could it kind of stall at? So just looking at a few fibs, there was a potential, 1618 just sitting up just above around about that 99.30, which kind of adds slight confluence to this zone up here. So it was just kind of playing out in situations of if the dollar was to go long from any sort of area around here, where could it kind of find exhaustion at? And that could potentially be up in that sort of area, just up there. So with that kind of in mind, I'll kind of take a look at the other sort of major currency pairs. And I mean, I wouldn't say the market's been fantastic this first sort of quarter.
Well, volatility's been at historic lows. Let me ask you, since we do have the Fed tomorrow and then we have NFP Friday, do you flatten out before red events, or are you willing to hold positions into them?
It really depends. I kind of look for positions on, I'd rather have nothing open going into the event, and then look for places where the market could spike into, to then potentially take advantage. So for instance, if looking at the dollar index and we do see the market kind of, push considerably lower, I'd be looking at areas where potentially other people may be currently long. So if people are long down in here at this sort of 96 area, 96.80, then their stop losses are probably sitting just below these lows here. And if the market spikes below that, sometimes I'll take a buy order around about the same sort of low area to see if it can push back up and reject that.
Okay. All right. So I notice you have a YouTube channel. What's your business model, John, and what are you trying to accomplish with your YouTube channel?
So essentially, just kind of wanted to put my charts out there. I think for me it was I want to try and hold myself more accountable to my trading decisions, trading positions. So I thought, well, if I start putting my charts out publicly and my trades out publicly, then I have to hold myself accountable for that. There's no real motive with regards to business or anything like that. So for me, it was just kind of putting my charts out there, and just, if it helps somebody as well, by someone could watch my stuff and they learn from it, then that's just a bonus.
What is Blueberry Markets?
So Blueberry Markets that's a broker in Australia that I do some currency analysis for. So their clients are basically, send out reports of what I think is going to happen, X, Y, and Z.
So you're the head currency analyst for them.
I am, yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. It's pretty cool, and what I like is the fact that they really want to be these kind of transparent brokerages. Obviously, brokers are there to make money, but if we can try and help people to make money in a safe way, and with some kind of analysis behind it, then I feel like we can give a better service.
Would Blueberry like me to open an account and churn my own account?
Say that again.
Would Blueberry be open? I'm an American, so they won't take my account. But I was wondering if they'd be interested in having me open an account and churn it and do a lot of volume.
Well, at the end of the day, a broker wants to make money. I'm not going to.
I have to lighten it up a little, John. Anyway, the broker always wins.
The broker always wins.
They're
absolutely.
like lawyers. Only the lawyers win. So, so what do you do? Do you put out daily commentary for Blueberry? They have a newsletter?
Yeah, so newsletters, and then obviously if I go over to this page, I usually put out a few charts of
Okay,
interest a
let's see it.
day just to have a little look at, just to keep the interest sort of there. So, Kiwi
Okay.
dollar, I was doing some swing trading on Kiwi dollar and Kiwi yen,
Okay.
just because they're at
Cool.
those key support areas. And I just basically, update this area. Quite often I put a video on their YouTube channel every day, just kind of giving my opinion on where I think the market's going to be going or what we can potentially look for. And then
So
just kind of
do people have to open accounts with
no,
Blueberry to get access to your research?
no, nope, nope
Okay.
at
So
all. So
besides your YouTube channel, this is where, people could see John Kidler's ideas and works and biases,
yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I feel a thing as well with posting charts on Twitter and that. I've seen quite a few debates lately, and people are kind of bashing other people around and saying like, "Oh, you deleting tweets and all this kind of stuff."
Yeah,
And I don't want to be a part of that nonsense. It's
I
just
hear you.
you should
You
be
ever see anyone on Twitter say I was wrong?
never. When do you?
How about I don't know?
Yeah, exactly. Or
Okay.
it's always I've done this, I've done that, I've
Yeah.
made X amount of money, I've done this. And at the end of the day, that's people don't want to see you being wrong.
Okay.
And it's one of those where like I don't understand, because if you go in the mindset of into this game without thinking that you can lose a trade, you're going to do horrendously.
So you said you don't know why people are happy to see other people lose? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so like I don't understand,
Okay,
this is
let
kind
me
of
explain it to you because I have a little more than 6 years in it.
yeah,
Well, you've heard misery loves company,
yeah, well,
and
yeah,
people root for other people to fail to rationalize their own inadequacy. And it's
yeah,
not allowed in any trading room I've ever facilitated or moderated. That's one of the worst things for a room. It really makes it toxic.
yeah,
I have a couple of questions for you.
yeah, sure.
Uh, how did you become an analyst or get noticed? Because a lot of people would like your job. In
Yeah,
fact, they're sending out applications right now.
yeah.
How did you land it?
So
Yeah.
I actually opened an account with Blueberry when I I'd say probably three or so years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I did that basically off a recommendation of one of my mentors.
Uh-huh.
They were like, this company, I know the CEO, they're
Okay.
looking to do whatever and all that kind of stuff. They're trying to be,
Uh-huh.
really good with their customer service and X, Y, and Z. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll go and open an account with them, started trading. From that point as well, I kind of met the CEO and, just started chatting with that guy. And I noticed that they were putting out certain sort of trade calls and stuff. And it was very fundamental base, and there was the risk to reward. I was looking at some of the trades, and I'm not bashing this other trader. Obviously, obviously the person that they had had their way of doing it, and there's a million and one ways to do this.
Yes.
But I felt like if we could maybe increase the risk to reward on some of these trades, or maybe go with a bit more of a method that may be a little bit safer, they could grow. Because at the end of the day, they want people to trade, but they also want to retain clients as well.
Yeah.
So if we can give out good information, trade in a safe way, and increase the risk to reward for people, maybe they will, continue to stay. And and it's been working. People have been, trading alongside us. We get lots of thank you messages and things like that, which is awesome.
Cool.
Obviously, when it goes wrong and you have a couple of losing trades on the bounce, you do get those people going, oh, thanks for losing trade, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I'm also a big believer of you shouldn't just follow everyone blindly.
No, we're all captains of our own ship.
Absolutely, you should do your own research into whatever anyone's talking about, because there are literally a million and one ways to trade the market.
Yeah, skin a cat. So another question is, what's the best way of reaching you?
Best way,
Ricardo Johnson.
So the best way of reaching me is probably just on Twitter. If you go follow me on Twitter, just John Trades Forex, or
Okay.
I do have an email that you can find me on as well. And it is my other company name, but essentially this is where you'll find me at the minute. And if you just want to chat about
I
trading
like that,
or
Lionheart.
whatever, just drop me a message. Sometimes I'm hopefully going to set up a newsletter and something like that soon.
I like
Um,
that animal spirit.
yeah, well,
Nice.
I'm a Leo, so
Oh,
I
okay.
actually tried with my dad. My dad was in the construction game and he closed his business down to join me doing this.
Oh my
Um,
God, that is really a good story.
yeah,
Because he could do this till he's 90.
well, that was his theory, and the
Yeah,
thing as well, we were looking at the amount of money he had to risk with in terms of
right.
funding or financing a job,
Yeah.
and he was looking at it going, well, hang on a minute, I can risk less doing this, and I can work from home, I can do this, all that kind of stuff. So we just ended up started this journey sort of together. Obviously, I've got a few more years on him because he was still running his construction company as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really kind of helping him get to a position where he can, profitably trade consistently. He
What
still
a
makes his mistakes and stuff,
what
but
a what a great way, what a great wrap up, father
yeah,
son team, and kind of role reversal. It's normally the father teaching the son, and the son
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
teaching the father, and like it or not, now John, you're my trading warrior brother, and it's
No, love it.
my hope that pips rain down on you and your dad and
Thank you very much.
everyone that your work touches. And I'm really glad I reached out to you. It was really my favorite part of the interview is what you're doing now to help people and how you're working with your dad. I wish you much success and him too. And really was a pleasure meeting you. And thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
here and spending your most precious currency, your time, to
Yeah.
edify our community today.
No, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and hopefully we can do it again sometime. I'd like to, that'd be awesome.
Okay, what time is it there?
It is 2:30, so 2:30 p.m.
2:30 p.m. Okay, all right. So everyone, you can reach John at John Trades, and there's his email address, John at Lionheart-FX.com, and
Yeah,
you
if I
can
put
catch him at Blueberry, and
that's my
there's his
Twitter handle.
John Trades Forex with the at in front of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a wrap for Turnaround Tuesday, everyone. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And who knows, maybe there's someone in your family, if you know how to trade, that would like to learn from you. It's kind of like instead of giving someone a fish, teaching them how to fish. And that's what John is doing. So, John, thanks again for being with us today.
Thanks, Dale. Cheers.
All right, buddy. Good hunting during the Fed and NFP this week, bro.
And you. And you. Hope it all goes well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Adios, and everyone, we'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your trading day. Good hunting, and adios. See you, mate.
See ya.